Years ago, my wife and I served with a ministry that focused on apartment complexes. And they would go into an apartment complex. There was some compensation involved, and they would serve that community and do social events, but also share the gospel with the residents. And my wife and I did this for 2 years, and I felt like that community apartment complexes are a really unreached people group, if you will. We don't think about ministry at apartment complexes. But I felt like that people group was my mission field. And so I wanted to share the gospel and reach that group of people, but also protect them from false teaching. And what a lot of people don't realize is Mormon missionaries, when they go off, they're usually 2 single people, and they go off and they'll often live in an apartment complex. And sometimes you'll find them walking around talking to people. And so you want to address that and maybe try to reach and witness to them. But you also have this other dynamic, and that's the Jehovah's Witnesses love to hit the laundry rooms of apartment complexes and leave their magazines. And so as I lived there, because we lived there, I would do my laundry and I started seeing these magazines, so I'd start throwing them away. Well, I thought, well, wait a minute, let me just, while my laundry's going, I'll just kind of walk around the apartment complex and throw away all their magazines. And then since I lived there, I actually got to time and find out when they dropped them off. And before work or something, I'd just take a walk and I'd just pick them all up right after they dropped them off and throw them in the trash. But then I realized maybe I should do something a little more proactive. And so I typed up this sheet here. This is Jesus really God? And this has 2 quotes from their translation of the Bible, the New World Translation, that prove the deity of Christ, which is what Jehovah's Witnesses deny. And these are 2 of the verses they haven't changed yet. They've changed most of them to fit their doctrine. Underneath that, I have a gospel presentation. And then I have some of the history of the Jehovah's Witnesses that talks about some of their false prophecies, their prophets of their organization that predicted the end of the world and things, and it just didn't happen. And then some references to the things that I mentioned. Cited some references there. And so this handout is not only for the Jehovah's Witnesses when they come back to check to see if their magazines have been taken, but it's also for the people in the community who go and see these things in the laundry room. And so this is just one way, if you live in an apartment complex, that you can reach people with the gospel and prevent and protect people from false teaching, right? So you can hand these out. If you live there, you can maybe make a Saturday of it and just have a bunch of these printed off and hit different apartment complexes in their laundry rooms. If you'd like a copy, if you like this file, you can contact me on our Facebook page, Gospel Centered Evangelism, and I can send you this file. You can adapt it and do what you want with it. Another thing, if you're timid or just getting into intentional evangelism, is you can go to livingwaters.com. They've got these gospel tracts that look like $1 million bills and a number of tracts that look like money. And you can just kind of fold this up and just kind of crinkle it a little bit. And it just kind of looks like a bill that someone lost. And so you can go to a college campus and just drop this in a pathway. Go to the grocery store, any areas that are frequently walked, and you can just leave this and just kind of sit far off and watch people pick it up. And once they pick it up and they read it, you're sharing the gospel. You're sharing the gospel. And so that's encouraging. And maybe you can work up to, as you're walking around your apartment complex, you can hand out tracts to people you see, try to share the gospel with them. Follow up with the people who pick these up. But there are so many ways that you can, if you are introverted or timid or shy or even just getting into this, that you can build up to having those conversations that you want to have. And so just some ideas for you as you do this thing called the Great Commission. And remember, the Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians 9:16, he said, "Woe to me if I do not preach the gospel, and woe to us if we do not preach the gospel." And take every means necessary to be able to do that, or work up to doing that, even in the little ways. And so don't discount things like a handout in the laundry room or a gospel tract laying on the ground, because God can use them.